got some things in the mail today for the Airstream. Mails have been running slow. So yeah, I ordered them a few weeks ago, and I guess I could have went to the hardware store and picked up some regular PVC. This is ABS, which was originally in the Airstream of the camper, but I had to just slow down for a second and realize, like, now sometimes I rush things. I get a lot of momentum behind it, and I get, gun-ho, and I want to get the job done. And I really have to check myself in those times, because that seems to be when I start making mistakes. So probably a month or so ago, I started on the kitchen sink drain to the gray tank, and I'll show you all here in a second. So now I have to fabricate a shower, a bathroom, shower, bathroom sink, and a vent, which I'm still not quite sure if I need, because this didn't have a gray tank in it originally, but I'm gonna put it in there anyways, just to kind of, I guess, allows the water to drain faster, plus vent the gray tank itself, which it's not gonna have sewage in it or anything, but just in case. It will actually have two vents to it, because the kitchen sink had a vent as well. So enough rambling on that. I'm gonna show you a little bit more of what I'm talking about, and I'll try to get started on this today. So there's the vent where the kitchen sink will be, and the water travels down, goes into the custom gray tank. And this is, I'm going to try to reuse some of the older stuff, just because we waste a lot of stuff that's good, and it actually still looks good. I doubt it was even used that much. So ideally, try to drill a hole here, run it to the Y. The Y will go into the shower because it's going to be center, and this will kick off over to the vent. And I just got this in here. This is where the shower drain came, and then this goes up and in here. So, but the good news is if I get this right, I can go ahead and finish the floor. I got all the pieces cut, and it's all insulated. I just haven't put them in place or bolted them down for the custom gray tank. So this is huge. This is a huge step, and things should be moving pretty quick once I get the floor going in properly. And it's a big step, not gonna lie. Pretty excited. Hope this works out okay. I'm by no means a professional plumber, but at the same time, it's basically like a one-bedroom home. So I'm gonna, of course, test everything before I seal the floor up and bolt it all down and all that. That didn't take long. Had to come to Home Depot to get some adapters, and instead of using the original trap loop around, I got this. I forgot exactly what it's called, but the water comes through it. It traps, basically a stink trap, and it doesn't let it back in. It closes off the valve in there and allows it to flow this way, but doesn't allow it to flow back. All right. It's been a heck of a journey. I am back. I definitely wanted to record this just to keep it all 100, and yeah, let everyone walk through this with me, because just because we don't know how to do something doesn't mean that we shouldn't at least try. So my hole saw arbor broke, so I had to go back to Harbor Freight just to pick up a cheapo for right now. I only have a few holes to use with it. So got a few holes started for the sink drain and the vent, and now this is basically the pivot point for the drain to go from the vent and sink over to the gray tank. So I'm just going to use that as my main reference, because obviously I had to center the shower, put it where I want it, and then run my pipes accordingly. And me being inside and then back underneath outside, back and forth, running solo, I figured that would be the best bet. Plus, I need to see which one of these are going to work. I got the shallow drain, which now with that with the plywood being 3/4 plus 1/4 inch of the Reflectix on it, and then the tub, I don't know if it's actually gonna fit deep enough. So worst case scenario, I cut the hole in my subfloor a little bit bigger, and it kind of sets up the plywood coming down around it, which probably be just fine, if not the way it's originally intended to be, or I can use this one. So we'll see. I had to get a taper and a 90-degree elbow for it, which is fine. I've got one, but yeah, that's where I'm at with it. So I'm going to attempt to cut this hole and at least get this tub somewhat in, and use that as the pivot point to run the rest of my piping. Alright, just so you somewhat know what I'm talking about, there's a gray tank in the runoff. So here is the pipe that I showed you all earlier, and this piece has to align with this piece, and this is the vent. It's gonna come over and align with this, but what I'll have to do, since I added stringers in here and restructured the frame, which I already kind of anticipated this plumbing anyways, is that I might have to notch this out to get the angle. So that's kind of where I'm at with it right now, and I'll see what I decide to do and shoot it for you. Shoo-wee. That was not the easiest, funnest thing to do. I'm gonna let it cool down so I can test fit, see if I need to take off any more. Lots of sparks on that one. I just picked those blades up from Harbor Freight, and I think they're pretty much the same thickness as the ones I usually get at Home Depot, but I don't remember that kind of heat or that many sparks coming off of them. So maybe if you know something that I don't about those blades, let me know in the comments below. All right, here's the opposite side, and I did have to come back a little more and take off some. This is a lot easier because I didn't have to get the grinder up in the corner, but we got a nice angle here, and you can see now that's a line. So I can attach that and then basically swivel it each way, whatever way I need to, for this to come to this corner for the vent. Alright, so now that that's pretty much done, I'm gonna let it set up and keep my fingers crossed that got pretty much my angles in position. Of course, it's got to have a pitch to it. I got some hangers, so should be able to work the pitch in as well. The main thing is I get some of these pieces together so I wouldn't have so many variables in it while I'm trying to test fit the very last section. I left a little bit longer. Now whether that'll work or not, you all will find out with me. So until then, I'm gonna let this stuff set up, take a break, and fingers crossed. All right, there it is. Goes over top of the gray tank. Here's the shower inlet or outlet. There's the sink and the vent. So let's wait a couple hours. I haven't sealed to the shower drain yet because I want to leave that loose just in case. But let it sit for a couple hours and cure, and maybe do a little water test on it in a bit. All right, so let that set up for a little bit, cured out, and I just added some blocks, cut them to size to put on top, and hung it so it'll be off it'll have clearance here and it won't be bouncing up or down ideally. So just kind of snugged it up, didn't go too crazy on it, but it'll hold it in place from bouncing up and down ideally. So just thought I'd throw that in there just in case you're new to this like I am. If you did the demo on your Airstream, you probably would have noticed there was some in there factory. If you did not and you just bought a shell, then I just didn't want you to miss out on it. All right, moved inside, and there's the sink drain. I didn't push it all the way down yet. I'm going to trim that up so it's not sticking 4 inches down to the tank. But this is basically the outlet for the drain, and this will screw on to there. I haven't put this on there yet, but it will ideally come out and drain into the tank, gray tank as well. Store all the shower water, sink water from the kitchen and the bathroom. No need for a black tank. And something else that's pretty cool is we are running solely off of batteries right now, so pretty excited to get to work on this thing and not even be plugged up to shore power. Of course I could because I'm at my house, but why wait? But yeah, that's basically it. It's gonna come out. I'm gonna drill a hole, put that on there. It'll seal up in that. And this is for the coupling on the outside, and then you'll have your valve to open up to drain the tank underneath the Airstream. Like I said, this did not come with one, so I had to do all this stuff. Basically just welded a basket, made a previous video of it, and set the tank down in there. I'm gonna have to drop it and paint it. All right, so it is now day 2 of the Airstream plumbing for the shower and the bathroom sink and the back vent. I let everything pretty much cure overnight. Did a water test about 2.5 hours after cure time, just to make sure there wasn't, you know, any kind of leaks or anything underneath the trailer. But I'm gonna go ahead and tie the plumbing into the gray tank today, And if you want to stick around to see how that goes in, feel free. All right, so as you can see, and most of you already know, nothing works right the very first time for the most part. It's been interesting project try to figure out on my own, but I think we got it. As long as the holes match up, I gotta let everything cure. I did recover my hole saw bit that fell down into the gray tank. I don't have the drain cap on yet, so it's kind of open, but if this fits up and lines up, then that's going to be the next step, so stay tuned.